All right. Welcome to another episode of Inside IALR. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen. We've had a lot of content about the ATDM program, whether it be this podcast or stuff on our website, social media. If you follow us in any way, you've probably heard something about ATDM. ATDM stands for Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing. We love our acronyms here at IALR. We've had a lot of content around employers who take on these graduates, and we've had a lot of content with students either who are in the program or literally on their graduation day as they're leaving the program. So we've wanted to expand that a little bit and talk to alumni, students who graduated not just a few weeks ago, but months or even years ago. And that's what we have coming up next is an interview with Carrie Williams, who graduated from the non-destructive testing track of ATDM earlier in 2026. So I'll let her tell, the full version of her story, but the short version is she is a single mom, and that this ATDM program gave her a viable way to make more money to provide for her family and also to contribute to our national defense. For those who don't know, I will explain ATDM briefly before we get into the interview. So ATDM, like I said, Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing, is a really, really important program, and it does two things that are very important. On one side, it's contributing to our country's national defense, where we are helping to increase the production of ships and submarines. That's very important. And on the other hand, we're providing life-changing opportunities for the individuals who go through this program and graduate, where they're gaining the skills for a meaningful career that can actually provide for their family, all in 4 months, all at no cost to them. So with that, we will jump right into the interview with Carrie Williams, who is one of those graduates. So to start, Carrie, if you could tell me a little bit about kind of how your life and career experience before you found ATDM. Just kind of open-ended, broad question, let you go from there.
Well, I had just gotten a divorce. So it was kind of like I was just starting at the bottom again, starting all new. I needed a change with my career. I needed to become more independent, make more money. Yeah, so I had a friend, and I was talking to him about my situation. And my friend Gil, he told me about a program called ATDM and how the government would need ships and airplanes, and our trade is a dying trade, kind of. I think there was like a big college boom era where everybody was going to college and the trades kind of got forgotten about. And so I looked into this program. It was in Virginia, and it was for 4 months, which that in itself was a little bit nerve-wracking, having to move from Ohio to Virginia. But I ended up just taking the leap and doing it. And I'm so glad that I did.
And so you mentioned from Ohio. So what was kind of your previous career experience before you ended up taking the jump and coming to ATDM?
Well, in my early years, I was a paramedic for a while. And that just kind of emotionally got a little bit tiresome for me. And then I had my children. So it just made me more anxious and emotional baggage type of thing. So I just needed to change away from that. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a while. Like I said, I became more dependent upon my husband. I just had different jobs. I did a little bit of customer service. I did a little bit of quality assurance work. So it varied. I'm getting older now, so I've had plenty of jobs. But I just really needed a stable job that I really cared about. I really liked, that paid well. And in 4 months, I can't believe how well I get paid.
So yeah, tell me about that, how you transitioned from your friend telling you about this program exists to, okay, yes, I'm going to go for it and actually do this. Kind of what was the thought process and how did you come to that decision?
Well, I trusted him. First of all, he's a friend that I look up to and admire, and I know that he is smart. He knows what he's talking about. So it wasn't just a reach in the dark for something. I knew it was going to be a good thing if I would just do it. I know he was leading me in the right way. I just had to do it myself and take the step and do it. And it was a little intimidating, to go out of my comfort zone. Here I am, 46 years old, leaving my state, going somewhere all alone for the first time, because I'm used to being with people around me that I know, but I needed a change, and I just needed to be independent and self-sufficient. I didn't want to rely on anybody. So my kids are a big motivation for me. I'm really ambitious at the moment, and I just really wanted to thrive. It was like my time in my life where I could do something for myself, and I did it.
And you started in around October of 2025, is that right?
That's correct.
So tell me a little bit about kind of, okay, you decide to come, you show up, for those first few days of getting checked into your apartment, going through orientation. What's going through your mind as you're doing all that?
I was excited. Everything was great. The apartment they put us in was beautiful. Like I had this amazing view. I feel like just so blessed, really. What a great opportunity for people. And really, the way that it's helped me in my life and blessed me, I am very happy to be telling my experience because it's a really good thing. Like, how else can you go to school for free and learn a trade in 4 months and get placed out and work anywhere in the United States, basically? There's so many options out there for these trades. And so I was just like I am now. I'm really excited about it. I was excited then. It wasn't scary once I got there. Everybody was so nice. They made the process very, very easy.
And so I know those 4 months, a lot of work goes into making, as you said, everything easy except for the actual coursework itself. I know that is meant to be a very rigorous challenge, with it being a year plus of experience shoved into 4 months. Tell me about kind of the academic side of that. What was that like learning? You did non-destructive testing, so a completely new trade for you at that point.
It was new. It was new. I had common knowledge about some things, but getting into detail about situations that we deal with that I know about now, I didn't have a clue about. But they basically start you, at the beginning, and then just kind of give you a well, I don't know, about all the programs are different, so I can only speak about the NDT program. They lay it out really nice, really easy. You go all day, like 8 hours a day with a lunch break. Just like you're going to school back in high school, 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. It's it's really not that hard if you're committed and you really want it. If you want to go there and just you don't really care, I don't care if I pass, whatever, then you're not going to, because you have to want to do it. But if you do want to do it, you can do it. They will help you. They have tutors. They will help you. You will succeed if you want to, So it's all about the person, if they want to or not. You do have to try. You do have to do your homework. You do have to study, but that's what you're there for, So it's doable. But it is, you're talking about serious things, People's lives are on the line, so sometimes with the trade that I'm in. So I take it seriously, and so do the instructors.
And as someone who now works in NDT, how do you explain NDT in 20 seconds to someone who doesn't know what it is?
Non-destructive testing. I look for cracks in welds. That's like the simplest way to describe it to somebody that doesn't understand what it is, because a lot of people don't. It's just, we find any kind of defects, discontinuities in welds or, in critical infrastructures, bridges, all that stuff, roller coasters. I find myself looking at welds now, don't even on my off time. I'm like, oh, let me check that one out. It's kind of funny.
That's awesome. And so you went through this program, started in October of 2025, finished around February of 2026. So tell me a little bit about, while you're there, what was it like looking for a job, figuring out what you were going to be doing next? What was that process like?
Very easy, because, I found it easy. They're just very helpful. They kind of like hold your hand, like doing it. Like you like they give you, there's a class set up that where they help you make a resume. They show you how to do all this stuff. They really, really do lay it out for you, and they don't make it hard. You just have to, they teach you how to do it, So they help you make a resume. They tell you what websites to go onto to try to find a job. They tell you who's hiring. They tell you who's hiring. They kind of even almost fit your personality to a job. Once they get to know you a little bit, they have recommendations for you, in your situation. Do you want to travel a lot, or do you want to stay, in a shop every day? It really is a great program. They really help you the whole way through.
And tell me a little bit about kind of where you're working and what you're doing now.
I'm working for Team Incorporated. It's a great place for me to start out at because I'm able to stay at the shop sometimes, and I'm also able to get experience out in the field. So currently, what I'm focusing on is radiology, X-ray. So when I'm at the shop, I X-ray parts that under the cabinet X-ray machine, and when I'm in the field, we use the gamma camera. So I'm able to get both of those different experiences because even though they are similar, they're essentially the same things happening. They are quite different techniques, and everything is way different. You have a portable, camera here that you go out in the field, in the trenches, up high, all different kinds of adventures out in the field. But then you have the shop where it's more like stable, normal hours. So it just depends on what you want. So I got a taste of both of those, which I really did like and I needed. Also, my boss, Julia, she's awesome. She's very helpful and like with my career, like what I want to do. Like I want to focus on X-ray, and that's what she needed me for. But then I also want to get my certifications in MT, and as many as of the other certifications that I can get. She's willing to let me do that as well. Which tomorrow, actually, I'm going to be doing some MT and PT. I'm almost ready to be certified in those two.
And so, how did you feel, walking into that job with basically just a 4 month? I mean, I don't want to say crash course; it's much more than a crash course, but basically a very fast-paced 4 month program. That was your experience in NDT. How did you feel walking into this job?
I felt well. They don't throw you to the wolves. You know what I mean? You're coming in as a like assistant type thing. So I'm getting the experience. I have a general knowledge of all of them, and when I say general, I don't want to like dim that down any because I have a pretty good knowledge about all the techniques that I was taught. Well, I have all the classroom hours I need to certify. I came out of there with all the classroom hours I need. I don't need to take any more classroom hours for all those techniques that I learned. I just need to get the experience hours. So, and that was very, my boss liked that. That's one of the reasons why she wanted to hire me, is because I had all that, I had that in my back pocket to give her. Look, ATDM taught me this. Here you go. Oh, so they don't have to put me through classroom if they don't want to. Some places choose to, but my employment, they do not require me to go take some more classes. What I have is good enough for what they're trying to do here at Team. So I feel like I had a good general knowledge of the techniques, and everybody else, I'm still there, you know what I mean? And she's willing to teach me other techniques, so it must be good enough, I got substantial raises already.
And you've only been there, what, 6 months?
Yeah, all I did was went from a helper maybe to an assistant radiographer.
And you mentioned earlier, the idea of making a lot more money than you used to. You don't need to give any specifics, but like, is this, I guess as much about that as you would want to share based on how ATDM took you from point A to point B.
Well, okay. So when it comes to income, it varies a lot with NDT. But it's all about what you want to do, where you want to go, who you want to work for, and what you want to sacrifice, and what works for you. Do you want to travel? Do you want to do this?
I mean, I love these stories of how ATDM can take you in 4 months from a career that either you don't find fulfilling or don't want to be in anymore, or can't really make a living on, to a career that hopefully is all three of those things, that it is fulfilling, that you do see career progression and can make a living on. So it's really cool to hear that story that you just shared of how ATDM provided that for you. What other things about ATDM in your experience, now that you're 6+ months removed from it, do you think about, whether that be takeaways that you had in the classroom from your instructors, or just other things that you learned while you were there that really impacted you as you're going through this experience?
Well, one thing I want to note is, the instructors are great, and I really am grateful for. My one instructor got a call about me for a job, and he recommended me, and so those things are also there to be helpful for you too. They will recommend you if they think that you can do it. So there's that. You can't just, they're going to recommend me if you can do the job, improve yourself. They will absolutely have your back. They will help you in any way they can, they're just very helpful. very helpful there. They even like if you don't have food, like one of the I prepared myself. I knew I was going down there, so this really wasn't too much of a problem for me. But they help you to get to be entertained during the time off because you have weekends off, and everybody they live in different parts of the country, right? So on the weekends, it's like, what do you do? You know, so they make these programs where you can volunteer to go do things, you know, like they had a parade one time and we volunteered to go help with the parade. It's just a way to meet new people, meet other people, and network a little bit too, and give back to the community because the community does help ATDM students. If you need food, if you don't have money for food, they do help you with that. They give you transportation to classes every day. And then the other students that do have a car there, sometimes they'll give you a ride to the store if you need to go. So just don't think if I don't have a vehicle, I can't do this. This won't work for me. It absolutely can work for you. The only thing that you need to really be responsible for is food. And that is even like, they will help you with that too. You know, I mean, where else can you go to school where you don't make this kind of money where you don't have to pay it back? And it's a short period of time too. So,
yeah, I think that idea of removing barriers has definitely been central to the creation and implementation of ATDM. Then how can we remove any barrier that would prevent someone from being able to get to this point?
Oh, absolutely. One of the students, she brought her whole family. She brought her family down. You know what I mean? So she brought her husband and kids too. So they will work with you, you know, if you're really serious about it.
Well, that's all the questions that I have. I mean, is there anything else about your experience that you would want to add or anything else you think it's important that people know?
I think it's important for people to know just to put yourself first put yourself first, take that step and commit to it and do it. And it's a life changer. This is a life changer for you. It changed my life drastically. And I'm really still excited about it.
That's awesome. Well, thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
At IALR, we're training people for careers supporting the construction and maintenance of ships and submarines. ATDM, or Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing, gets students ready for defense manufacturing careers in just 16 weeks. Skills like machining, welding, additive manufacturing, non-destructive testing, and metrology. The best part? Most graduates land great jobs right away. If you want a fast track to a career with impact, check out atdm.org.